Unlocking the potential of the African continent through green industrialization is one approach to developing African economies while addressing the challenges of climate change. For this to happen, the continent must find a new way to reduce its environmental footprint while making the most of its natural resources to create more wealth. Through the implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Area, the adoption of strong climate policies and measures could reduce greenhouse gas emissions by 25% while increasing intra-African trade from 31% to 34% compared to 14.9% in 2023.
And develop African economies by intra-African trade in value-added manufactured goods and commodities, and allow free trade for services across the continent. Now, there are two obvious advantages to a fully operational free trade agreement of this particular agreement. The first is that 42% of African countries, aside from North Africa, now have legislation prohibiting the export of raw ores or minerals.
Transforming mining resources locally using cleaner energy sources would increase renewable energy consumption in Africa from 5% to 12% by 2045. This would also boost intra-African trade and reduce the need to transport goods over very long distances. According to the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development Statistics, transport accounts for 23% of global carbon emissions.
Now, if we trade more with ourselves, the distance and the emissions coming out from that trade is significantly less. So we're actually reducing the climate issue, the climate contribution to climate challenges just by trading more with ourselves. And by doing that, it's more sustainable. It makes us less susceptible to global financial issues because we are trading with ourselves. Most of the global economic crisis is never really instigated in the continent. It's something that happens in other developed countries. And the reason why it affects us in Africa is because our pattern of trade, our finances are with these countries. So if we trade more with ourselves, it also creates a buffer for us in the continent. And again, this helps us to develop a lot more quicker without worsening the climate issues, and it also protects us from global economic challenges when they occur.
Although climate change remains a global challenge, countries on the continent need to adapt and find sustainable solutions without hampering development and wealth creation. Given that Africa accounts for less than 10% of global carbon emissions responsible for climate change, proper implementation of the AfCFTA protocol would make it possible to achieve both objectives in the medium term.